Hi everyone, it's Beverly Cole, but you can call me Bev. In this video, I'm going to be using magazines and paint samples to create color palettes for some collages that I'm going to make. I've already gone through a Better Homes and Garden magazine to find colors that are supportive of each other. If we look in this Valspar book, you can see all these muted colors. And I like to think of them as the vintage colors. The vintage colors are what I will base my color palettes on. So that's an easy one. But in most of these colors palettes here, you're going to see the main color up here. But in a lot of them, even the supporting colors are very muted and vintage. I think the reason for that is that these are exterior paints, and most people don't paint their houses purple or pink or shocking red or lime green. Although, you know, in the Victorian areas like Cape May, you may see some houses like that. But here, we're going to stick with what they consider to be the main color of a normal house, the normal house colors. In some places in the country, you have to have the colors of your homes approved by the HOA or by the neighborhood or by the city. We're not going to worry about that today. We're going to just enjoy making some collages with these kind of color combinations. So what I did was I went through the magazine and I looked for, this is a cover because I'm going to build on the cover. The cover is thicker, and if you've ever watched any of my videos about collaging, you know that I like to use the cover as the base or the substrate of my collage. Now here we already see some beautiful colors that are definitely muted. And in this picture, it seems like they want you to see this as a very comfortable and warm and homey with the yarn and the colors, the muted colors. There's nothing really to make you go pow in this picture. In this picture, we do. We see the yellow, but also all this bright pink around it makes it pop. And then of course the gold and the flames and the silver 100, that all makes it pop. Now here you can see the blue, and in one of these here we have blue, and I'm going to use blue. Here's a dark blue up here. Over here I've got a shaded lake color. Over here, where is it? It's like a spa pool. Up here is a cafe blue. Here's a teal. So we see the blue in the combinations. So I'm going to use some blue, and this blue is very eye-popping. In the color wheel, the opposite of blue is orange. So to make our picture pop, some orange might be good to use. So let's see, we've got these blues, right? Textures and darks blues there. Oranges, here's some almost like a topaz color, and some yellow. Those are pretty. Always look on the other side to make sure you're not overlooking something that might be better. Here I see a gray, and one of the, you know, that's a base color, but then you could cut that out. And then here are some earth tones, but then if you turn it over, you have this blue and this red. Yeah, so always check both sides to make sure that you see what you really want to use. So right now we're looking for, oh, isn't that pretty? It's a beautiful color. Now this is also the cover of the magazine, so I could use this as my base. Here's the color palette, pretty much, that we're going to work with. Okay, so I'm going to put this away for now. I want to stick with a kind of a vintage color, but also I want it to pop. So I also need some more kind of gray. So I did find some of this grayish texture here. So we'll use that. I'm going to take my cover, which already has my orange background, and I'm going to start adding the blues. Now we're just going to rip our colors. You know how much I like to rip. And I'm going to start piecing this together with my glue stick. Easy peasy, and you can work right on your surface. And we don't worry about the words. They can stay. The textures, see, I'm not worried. I'm just tearing. And I'm going to leave some space because I want to be able to see that pretty orangey yellow color. Kind of looks like my Prismacolor Spanish orange pencil or marker. We are also going to add that gray. So we have the orange and the blue and the gray. So pull out your magazines and start looking for color combinations that you like. Now there's other places that we can find color palette combinations. You can go on Pinterest and find all kinds of color combinations. There is a girl that her last name is Clark, and she has something called a color cube, but you don't really need to purchase it because she gives you a bunch of ideas. She has the color cube, the color encyclopedia. You can purchase those if you want to have ideas, but really you don't need to. She just puts them on Pinterest and you can look at them freely. You know, she's just willing to share that, which is really nice. Okay, so let's pull out some of the gray now. Let's go to this piece, and I'm going to tear with some of the gray. I'm not going to worry about that little bit of green. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. So, get most of it off, but not going to hurt anything. You can put it anywhere. We're not worried about where it will be, right? We don't worry. No worries. So just do it the way you want. If you want to finish with all one color first, you can do that. Of course, you can do whatever you want. But I decided to add some of my gray right off the bat. The blue, maybe a different blue. Remember, this is kind of what we're going for right here. So I think I'm just going to rip some of this off. You know, I'm finding that ripping across might be an easier way to rip. At least it was for that gray. It's interesting. Keep gluing, keep covering up the background, but leaving some of that orange to peek through. Let me see, I think going across. Yeah, it really is easier to rip across. That is quite interesting to me. Let me just put this one up at the top. So I'm going to continue to do this until the page is done, using the blue, the gray, and the bright, sunny, orangey yellow color. So what happens is now we're going to cut this up and use this as our first layer of our tiny collages. Here's the color palette we used, and here's the piece I came up with. I'm not worried that there's parts that are showing from underneath because, like I said, it is my base that was the orange color, so that's perfectly fine. I'm just going to trim it off because you don't have to, but it just makes me psychologically feel better. And I'm not going to worry about measuring. You know, I don't like to measure. So the first thing we're going to do here to change this into our little collages is to just, whoops, you might want to go over, if you feel like if something's sticking up, and just glue it back down. Because I only used a little glue stick and I wasn't real careful with how I used it. So I want to make little collages. So they're going to be tiny. I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut like this, and it doesn't have to be perfect at all. Just cutting them up. You can cut one direction or the other direction. It doesn't matter to me. They're your collages. You can start wherever you want. I'm just putting it out there. And what's funny is when you see these pieces smaller, sometimes they're just awesome all by themselves. We still have more. Just that one page is going to make a lot of collages. So we don't have to re-glue any of this onto another layer. These are already done because they're already on that magazine substrate. So we're going to dress these up in a few different ways. Okay, so we picked out our color palette. That was the first step. And then we went and tore papers from the magazines that were in those colors, basically, and just glued them onto the surface. So here we have them, little tiny Collages. And you might find that when you look at these, some of them already, like I said, you're happy about them. They're exciting to you. And you also may have to do some re-gluing, but you know, it's not a big deal. So look at all of them. Look all that we made. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna run out of room. Let's see, there we go. Move all our scrappies out of the way. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so we have 30. This one already spoke to me, like very cool. It almost looks like a little landscape, doesn't it? With stars. You know, you can play around with them. Turn them sideways, turn them upside down. Just play with them. Look at this one has some dimension to it already. Some of them are going to stand out to you, some won't, but that's okay. So like I said, you can go back and just re-glue some spots or not. Now we're going to add to these. So we already have our color palette. And in our color palette, which was this one, gray, the orangey, yellow, and the blue, all right here. Not exactly the same, but you get the idea. This was the color palette. See, the pillows are the color palette. Isn't that interesting? So yeah, we're going to build on this. For instance, this one could use something that's a little bit more interesting, maybe some texture. Look at these textures right here. Whoopsie. Where'd it go? Come back, come back. Oh my goodness. I'm just gonna rip out these shapes and I'm going to add that to my collage. I just think it's cool. So I'm gonna add that to this one. Even if you want to add a touch of another color, you could. It's all totally up to you, but I'm just going to glue that on right there. And I have another one. So I want to add this one right there. Wait, this one? Yeah, let's add it to that one. So you can just go through the pieces that you've ripped out of your magazine or go back into the magazine and find more things that make you happy. You know, like I look at this one, it looks very dark. So maybe a little bit of this light may help or not, or this one. So yeah, you go on and you can add pieces to all of your little collages. All right, so we went into the magazine and we got some of these pieces that stand out. There's already some that I really like, so I'm gonna put those aside. Let's play a little bit more with the magazine pages. Okay, I'm gonna tear right off of this. I've got those pillows there, and those pillows are the colors of our background. So they may just make something a little bit more interesting if it looks kind of dull. Just make them look a little bit more interesting. Rip those pillow pieces apart and just glue them because it's more texture and the same kind of colors, or maybe not. I notice here, this is blue and white with a little red. So I could add some of that to one of these. By adding some of the text, some of the letters, we can make this even more interesting. See, I've got that word there again. And some of them already have a few little letters on them, but they don't all. So, you know, you can add them. Some words. So this is how you work with a color scheme. Just the 3 colors, or however many colors you choose. We're going to use some actual pieces from the paint chips that I didn't purchase, that I got for free. All right, here's whites and neutrals. You have a lot of these different little squares, and they're neutrals. So I think adding a little white to this might be good. But how am I going to do that? I don't want to just cut the squares out, you know, and that's it. It's not fun. So what I decided was to use some of my circle punches that I actually remembered to bring with me. I don't see a whole lot of white, so I'm going to go right up over to here and take some of these warmer whites. Ooh, they rip too. Ooh, yeah, they rip nicely. Let's see. These things want to fly everywhere. I'm going to take the punch and just punch out some of these shapes, which go flying everywhere. So we have some little round whites, but we can also have a 1-inch white like this. So we can use those on here. So I want to do that. I think they look really cool. I'm just gonna punch out a bunch. Punch a bunch. Look at this one, has the circles on it already. And if you don't want to punch them, like I said, they actually tear. So you can tear them. I mean, you could do anything you want. But why not use these gorgeous colors that are free for us? It's fun to buy supplies, but it's also fun to repurpose. It's just a neutral, but it's almost like a negative space when you put it on here. It's just gonna change it. I like the ripping. I like the ripping a lot. Just playing and having fun. So these are kind of coming out like little space age things. Very, 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 very cool. I need to put some more of the words. You could also just put it halfway off like this. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be completely on there. Do it any way you want. Yep. The white makes it like a negative, whoops, negative space that came on. All right, so let's just take a few of these out so we can just keep going. I'm gonna choose this one. I love this one. And this one's quite interesting, although I haven't even glued that on yet. Let's glue that on. These are a little thicker. And I like this one. So we aren't here all day. I'm gonna just work with a few. Here's a negative space. Look at this one. Check that out. Yeah, I like that. It's just fun. You just play with them, and then if it gets you excited, continue. Find the ones that you really enjoy. Look at that. That's a bottle, but when you turn it upside down, you don't really know what it is. These are the little collages. You just play with them and have some fun. Use the things that you can get. You might find something you really like using, and next time your husband drags you to the hardware store for a minute and ends up being in there for 45 minutes, take a walk over to their paint section. Look at some of these cool things they have there. They're fun. They're free. So here we go. I've got these little things. Where am I going to add these? I want to add one right there. I think that's kind of cool. Or maybe not. Maybe right there. It doesn't matter. I'm overthinking it. I really am. So I'm going to go with the first idea I had, which is right there. And then this big one there, or maybe half of it. Let me cut half of it. Half of it. Just half. And glue it. And add it. You could always add more to it later. I have gone into my stash and pulled out some different pieces of fabric, lace, ribbon that we can add to these little collages. So again, we start with the magazine, we end up with scraps. And I'm just gonna quickly cut some different pieces here to add to our little collages. These are pieces of scrapbook paper for more dimensions, some more texture. They become little works of art. It's got difference at one end and Meka at the other end, but your brain tells you what that says, even though it's not complete. And we have this guy, and he could just be a square, almost a square, and we're just gonna add him. I love these polka dots. Love polka dots. I don't know about you, but I have a thing about polka dots. They really make me happy. Let's put that one there. So yeah, you know, I just sit here with my junk and make things. Layer upon layer, starting with magazine, you can make things that are so much fun. And look, I have this whole pile over here I haven't even done anything with right here, but I will. And they'll probably come out totally different than these. So now I'm gonna use a piece of fabric, and it's all falling apart, so I'm gonna use a real skinny piece and get out my Fabri-Tac. Where did I put it? Yep, there it is. Okay. I'm in my RV, so you know, everything's kind of close anyway. So I'm just gonna put some of this on the back, and we will stick this. Yeah, that's cool. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. And I got one more piece. To this one. And these strings as well. I like the strings. So let's just put a little glue down here. Stick those strings on there. Now I haven't even pulled out my sewing machine yet, and I might not. These might be cute enough. Although my sewing machine adds so much, I think. Oh, I've got ribbon. We're gonna cut that up. Cut some ribbon up. Different little pieces. We can add that with Fabri-Tac. Something's hanging there. Let's just add this with some Fabri-Tac. And you know, if you like using distress inks or stuff like that, you can always use those on these, you know, to do the edges or whatever. I personally only brought a couple with me, so I'm challenged to try other things, which is a good thing sometimes, to challenge yourself. We're doing more collages. We're making more little collages. Collage, collage, collage. I love it. Love it. Using just scraps of paper and stuff. So these are in a color scheme. Lace. Let's try some lace on these. These are just the little extra pieces. And we're just gonna add that there. And this one. Where's the glue? Oh yeah. I think we'll add it to this one here. This one seems to need a little something. Little something. Okay. Nice. Some of them you're gonna go, oh my gosh, how did that come out so cute? I don't even know how I did that. You can use these on cards, and you can use these, you know, you can make little affirmation cards to share with people. All kinds of things. In this book, I would use them as just another element on the page. I think that's pretty cute. But I think I want to do some sewing on them first. I really do like how the sewing adds to that. But you can see how these can go in this book because well, you could put anything in a junk journal, but I like to match the colors. I don't know, I guess it's just the artist in me. I want to add color where I can. So you can see already, these are going to be fun, but I want to add some stitching before I put them in. And that book is really coming along. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get out my sewing machine and I'm going to sew on these. So now I'm sitting at my sewing machine and we're going to sew with white thread. I'm going to do zigzag stitch. Why not? So let's start. And move the sewing machine out of the way. Let's turn on some light and see what we have here. Okay, so here they are. Here they are, and they start with this one. And then there's this one and this. But they're looking to me like either planets or dishes on a shelf, but they're interesting. So I'd be interested to see you try this. Take out a magazine. So what's the first thing we do? We take out a magazine. Let me grab one. Okay, I got one right here. All right. We're gonna grab a magazine and decide what color palette you want. So you need a place to get a color palette, which could be from the paint store or even from a picture in the magazine. You know, you could find, look at this, look at that. So you have a cream color, a blue, a brown. So you don't even have to use the color, you know, the thing from the paint store. You could just look through the magazine. When you find something that strikes you fancy, look at this right here. This green and this, it's got like a light, it's an eggshell kind of color, and then a dark blue. So any page, look at this. This kind of looks what we just did. The yellow, the blue, oh, National Grid, that's where George used to work, you know, and the grays. So yeah, you could even look through a magazine and just find, look, the color combinations are just everywhere. This is another one that looks kind of like what we just did. Look at these. Yeah, see, isn't that exciting? I think that's so exciting. So get yourself a magazine. Find yourself a color palette and then go through and rip. Just take this one here, Cooking Light, okay? Ooh, look at that color. So take your color, say you're gonna do this one, yellow, pink, and like a gray or light pink, dark pink and yellow. And you're gonna go through and find light pink, dark pink, and yellow, okay? Light pink, dark pink, and yellow. It's just fun, just keep going. Oh, look, there's some pink. Yep, more yellow. So do that, find your colors, rip them out, and then start layering them. The colors are everywhere. Color's so important in advertising. It really, truly is. I mean, look, there's some more pink. Then yours would be like this. Just gluing those pieces onto like the cover of a magazine, cut it up and add a few more things and sew it. I still want to add something else to these. And that's what I can do. I can go, okay, well, you know, I can take these out next time I'm not feeling like doing something, but I'm not sure what. I can add to these. So thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.